Okay, well, before we get started, I want to put us in our circle order.
wait.
So,
First, we're gonna do Lanika.
yeah, I know, but I want to put
okay, to
everybody
start.
in their order so they
excellent.
know where they are in the circle.
Okay.
Well, we
So
could-
when I send the golden band from my heart around the circle, you'll know where you are in the circle. So it's just
It just
a
helps.
way to be more present and more
Right.
to have
And
more,
more connected with each other.
right.
Okay.
So I'll start with me and we'll go to the right. And I'm just going to read everybody down the list. So next to me would be Brother Reggie, then Brother Chris, Sister Donsha, Sister Anita, Sister Laley, Sister Mona, Brother Tom, Sister Zandy, Sister Sky, and Brother Ambrose. So that's the circle. So
So
when
if anybody else comes in, they can squeeze in.
Yeah.
It's like our little niche. So we need to start. with
All right,
Lanika.
so Brother Reggie, would you be so kind to lead us in the Lanika?
Absolutely. Vim Ja Ko
You see?
Take your ka and your jaw and sync them together in perfect harmony as we spin them forward. Ka jaw. Backwards. Horizontal clockwise. Counterclockwise. Vertical clockwise. Counterclockwise. Ka ja. Perfect sync and harmony. At the Z. Z ka ja. Spinning forward. Backwards. Horizontal clockwise. Counterclockwise. Z ka ja. Vertical clockwise. Counterclockwise. Z ka ja. Perfect sync. Perfect harmony together.
Okay, let's create our circle of love. So I'm going to take a golden cord and send it around the circle, starting with Brother Reggie, and he will connect and send his cord around so that we're all connected. We're all connected by that golden, loving beautiful cord that is connecting us
In our
and
hearts.
from all of our hearts, from my heart to your hearts and around the circle. So let's think of the person or the people that we love the very most and feel that love that we have for them, and then send that around the circle. So we're just sharing that love, basking in that beautiful, wonderful feeling of love. And now we're going to take 3 deep breaths to calm our bodies, to just relax so that we can let go of all of life's pressures or stresses. Let's take our first breath and release. Just let go of everything that's holding you back. And another breath. And release and relax. Third breath. And release. Okay, now we're going to take our 3 breaths to expand our auras. Remember that we're all connected through our hearts. And we're feeling that love as we expand our auras out together. So first breath in and release, concentrate, spin that aura. Now quick breath in and expand out beyond your town, beyond your state, beyond your country, until you feel your aura fills, all of our auras fill the entire earth. We're just filling it with our love, feeling that love. And as we're in this expanded state, we can feel anything. We can touch anything we desire to touch with our spirit. So let's imagine that we are going to take us to one of our favorite places on the beach, in the sun, with our feet in the warm sand. Let's just imagine the sand sifting between our toes, hearing the ocean come in and feeling that nice ocean breeze. Just bask in that feeling. And we're so grateful that we have a world, how he made a world that's so wonderful to experience so many wonderful things. Let's take ourselves to some place really cold, but fun, to experience the cold and the light, like on the top of a mountain, that's snow. But we're in our little bubble, so we're not cold, but we get to sense what it feels like to feel that cold and smell the crisp air. And now let's just connect with all the people in our lives that we love and all the people that they're connected to, that we're all connected to the love and light of Elohim. I'm so thankful. And let's bring our auras back down to our bodies. And we're going to take another breath. Release and concentrate and spin our auras faster and faster and faster. And now quick breath in and expand out beyond our town, our state, our country, our world. And we're going to continue out into outer space, feel the vastness of space, the freedom that we have. We're just out there experiencing what it feels like to be in space and to be weightless. And again, we're in our little bubble, so we can feel things but still be comfortable. So we feel the sun and the heat and the light from the sun and stars Okay, the spring aura is back. And another deep breath. And release, concentrate, spin faster and faster and faster. Quick breath in. And hand out. Continue out beyond this world, beyond outer space, until we are expanded into the Celestine realm as we kneel before our Heavenly Father and Mother. And our dear brother Yeshua and Muriel. We are so thankful, dear Heavenly Parents, for all that we have, for the experiences of our lives, for the opportunity to gather together as children of light, to be part of the family of light, to have the oracles to teach us all these wonderful things that we are so thankful for. And we just ask that your love and light be within us and around us always, that we can be uplifted, expanded, and be in the right place at the right time. We are so, so thankful for all that you've blessed us so greatly with. We say these things in the name of our brother Yeshua. So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
Thank you, Samara.
Oh,
Okay.
now.
So now we're gonna share a song that Brother Estebus sent for us. All right, here we go.
Thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for every moment that led to this day. Thank you for the hard times. They made me appreciate the good times. Thank you for the lessons. They were needed for my development. Thank you for my eyes that get to witness the miracles of today and tomorrow. Thank you for all of my blessings. Thank you for everything I take for granted.
When I'm thinking about hard times and all those times we made it through.
Well, that was a great song. Thank you, Brother Estebus.
Yeah, that was brought tears.
Yeah.
to my eyes. So beautiful, the words.
And I think he wanted to make sure that we had something like that to, as this is our last meeting for 2022, and the next meeting will be in 2023,
Wow.
to remember as we look back and look forward, to be grateful for the things that we have, and so many things that may just be small things that we don't even think about, but they're actually big in our lives. And that song had some really good messages in it. All right, let us listen to what Brother Kiel has to share with us today.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Hope you're doing well this Sunday as you are seeing this. You're in my kitchen right now as I decided to make a video on something called Rejuvelac. If anyone who has done any sort of research on fermenting vegetables, you may have run across this before. It's essentially fermented sprouted grains, and there's different ways of doing this. But today I'm going to be using rye for my grain, but you can use any grain you like. I got this idea based off of a post Reggie, our brother Reggie, made on MeWe, so thank you, Reggie, for giving me this idea. I thought this would be a perfect time to make this video, because it's very important for us to understand how to be getting probiotics in our bodies. And if you don't want to buy probiotic supplements, you can easily do this at home, and it's much cheaper this way. And a lot of times you're getting a greater amount of probiotics and a better range of them by doing it this way, by doing fermented, either fermented grains or vegetables. But today we're going to be doing the fermented grains, which is called Rejuvelac. And essentially, it's very easy to make. You're essentially just kneading the grains, which today is going to be the rye. I got some rye here, and the rye in my area is very cheap here, so this makes sense to use rye. It was originally, Rejuvelac was originally made using wheat and sprouting it, but like I said, you can use any grain that you want, whatever is cheapest to be probably your best bet. Or it depends on every grain is going to taste a little bit different. It's something you're going to have to acquire a little bit. And if you want, you can actually add this into a fruit smoothie. Since I make fruit smoothies every morning, I can just add that into it to get my probiotics. So however you want to do it, you can use your imagination there. But it's very simple. It's just the grains and water, and the rest is the steps. And it's a few days process or more till the end here. So I'll be doing different videos and updating and showing you any new steps that you have to do throughout this. So the first step here is essentially getting your grain, and I'm going to be using this size jar here. So you can use a bigger one, you can use something like that. But you want to be using glass jars, nothing plastic, because we're wanting to grow beneficial bacteria, and we don't want anything interfering. And so we'll be mixing half cup of this rye into there. And you don't have to be too precise in the amounts here. It's whatever you have and whatever you want to do. But we're going to be using a strainer here. And we want to clean the grains, make sure they're clean. And preferably should be using organic grains. So put that in there, and I will rinse these out. And you will want to preferably be using clean water. You want filtered water. This water here that I have is filtered. You do not want any chlorinated water in with this because it's going to kill the beneficial bacteria in this. So once it's rinsed, you can put this into your container here. And think this out thoroughly here. I should have a funnel or something, I suppose. I'll just put this in here. And then you're going to want to cover it with some water here. And just enough to cover the grains is what you want, because we're going to be soaking them. But this is distilled water here. You can use spring water too. Or just anything, or filtered water, just anything that does not have chlorine in it. So I'm going to be pouring this in here. And that should be plenty water there. And then what you want to do is you'll want to cover this up so nothing gets in there. And you can use just a coffee filter, or a cheesecloth will work good too if you have that. But coffee filters work. Then you want to cover. This is just a cover for that I use for sprouting grains. And I just put that over it, turn it on there like that, and I will just let that sit on the counter. Or if you want, you can put a rag over it, or keep it in dark if you want, but this should be fine. But that's the first process in this, and I will update you on the next steps. Well, this is day 2, and I let this rye sit overnight, which had plenty of time for it to soak. And so I will be draining the water from this and rinsing it out. Put the cover back on. So we're looking at all that. And now we'll just rinse with some clean water again. Just rinse that out. And then I'll just be setting them upright in the container here. Catch any of the water that comes out. That way they stay as dry as possible. And they'll set like this for about 2 or 3 days until everything starts sprouting. And then I will add to my video here of what the next step is. So let's place them here. So this is the last step of the process here. And this is the Rejuvelac here, the end process. And I did say that I was going to do 2 days, leave this for 2 days, but actually after 1 day I decided it was good enough, and so I put it in the fridge so I could make a video of this the next day. So what we do here is we're going to pour out all the liquid into whatever containers you're using. I'm using these bottles here. Easy to pour out. But essentially probably didn't mention this really clearly, but what we're using is the actual liquid of this Rejuvelac here. We're not going to be using the sprouts. You can use these sprouts one more time. You put more water in this after you use this, and do it one more time. And after that, after the 2 times, you can just throw it away. But we'll pour this into the bottles. What I should do is put this over it, so you're not going to get any sprouts in the water here. And that's all there is to it there. It's the finished drink right here. You can just drink it as is, or like I said before, add it to a smoothie or something. But it's got a earthy and citrusy scent to it. I'll just taste it right now. Not too bad. Tastes pretty good, actually. But I hope that you've all learned something from this and you can try this for yourself, because it's not very hard at all. And it's very healthy. Easy probiotics. If you don't have any other way of getting probiotics, this is a really simple way to do so. So, since I probably won't be seeing any of you for a while here, I'd like to wish everyone a safe, happy, and healthy Luminaire. So until next time, namaste, brothers and sisters.
That was a great presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is getting better and better.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't made Rejuvilac in many years. I totally forgot about it. We got so used to buying pills.
Yeah, that's actually great, because as you said, we make smoothies
We
almost
make
every
drinks
day.
every day, yeah.
So
Well, and then you can use the grain, I would think, in something like I'll have to experiment.
Yeah.
speaking of how I think everyone, as they have the opportunity to give talks, improves each time that they do. And so I don't know if everybody saw the message that I had posted on MeWe, but I posted a list of topics that would be great to talk about. And if any of you would like to give a talk on any of those topics, please, or any other topic you feel would be appropriate for our Celestine Light group, please email me and we'll set up a time date that you can give a 5 to 7 minute talk on that topic. And this is a way that each of us has the opportunity to improve and build our self-confidence as we give presentations to our family. All right, speaking of presentations, Brother Reggie, would you be so kind to bless us with yours?
Absolutely. So this week was very interesting out of all the other weeks, because this week is more in relation to work, which was very interesting. Just a little background of me. I'm a senior infrastructure engineer for this big company, and I work directly with the CEO of the company on the technology side. So my responsibility is making sure the infrastructure is compatible with all the software installations, as well as of cybersecurity and protocols within the organization, within the company. So my role is very, very high level, and I'm the only one in the New York office where I support. Most of the team is out of New York, right? So I'm the main person that supports the floors within the building. So I have a lot of responsibility, a lot of customer interface, a lot of vendor interface, and that's what I do on a regular basis, because I love doing that. I love interfacing with customers. So the other day, I was doing this, wrapping up this project, and the CEO called me in the office. So as I went into the office, had a perturbed look on his face, and then he was basically asking me a particular question about one of the file on the repositories that wasn't fully syncing with other devices in the organization. So he got wind of it and it wasn't working. Which in relation, he's not really technology savvy. So I was, in the process of explaining to him exactly what's going on the technical side of that repository, where certain devices reaches capacity. So when that happens, you have to really switch the licenses or decommission one of the data files. So you know, so he was telling me how he wants this to work now. There's no excuses, all that stuff. And as he was doing that, he was yelling and screaming, raising his voice higher and higher and higher. And I was just looking at him, being peaceful and harmonic with my energy, just looking at him. He was getting irate. Now, as he was doing this, there was somebody else in the office. So automatically, I knew exactly what he was doing. He was showing basically his authority about, to me in a way that he wanted to belittle me. So as he was increasing his voice to a crescendo that's higher than normal, I started looking at him, and what I did is I put my hand up like this, just like that. And when I did that, he stopped. And I said to him, there's no reason for you to raise your voice. There's a way of conversing with this in a respectful manner. The way I'm talking to you, the way that we should communicate within this conversation. There's no reason for energies to escalate. Just like that. So when I said that, he took a step back and his energy went down. So I proceeded to explain this situation technically. And as I was speaking, I was breaking down the concepts. As I was speaking, he yelled again at me, and I raised my hand up. I said, did I interrupt you when you were speaking? So with that being said, since I didn't interrupt you when you were speaking, I would appreciate if you don't interrupt me, because I want to explain to you exactly what's going on. So when I said that, the other person that was in the room, his energy was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. Reggie just told the CEO to calm down in a very polite manner, which, to be honest, he's the type of person that likes to yell at people, to certain people. Certain people doesn't do that. Certain people he yells to show his authority, right? So when that was the case, I told him exactly what was going on. I broke it down. Of course, he refused to listen to that, right? And he still started to yell and scream. And what I did is, at the last time, I said, I show you respect. I appreciate that you show me the same respect. Because in order for this conversation to continue, this has to be respect. And right now, you're not showing any respect to what I need to say. I said it just like that, right? As my hand was up like that, right? And then when I said that in that tone, he really, took exactly what I said to really. It's not kind of hard to explain it, but I saw that energy shift, right? Because I was within my inner peace and I was within my harmony. At times we always experience individuals who try to, shout at us, who try to yell at us, who try to instigate, at us, when they want to prove themselves or want to belittle us, right? What that situation allowed me to do is allowed me to, understand and at the same time show my presence in a respectful manner because, you're my brother, I'm your brother. So even though you don't know that, I'm gonna let you know that I'm gonna show you some respect, no matter what, CEO or not. I'm gonna show you some respect, and that's what I did. That's what I did with that. After that was done, then he totally um I had the situation fixed. I resolved it, and he never said anything. He never um came up to me or apologized. Wish I wasn't asking for any apology, because no, that's neither here nor there. What I did was basically what was important for me. And as I was doing that, as I was walking back to my office, and it was kind of interesting because these couple of days, or ever since that happened, I was having conversations with uh I think it was Mother Elohim. Because it wasn't my guardian spirit. It wasn't my guardian angel. It was a female voice, very, very soft, very peaceful, very quiet. And she was speaking to me. She was speaking to me about what situation. And she was saying what you did was very peaceful and very harmonic, because you showed that person, who you really are without causing any other emotional, up. And that's the way it's supposed. Right. So as I was thinking of that, I was continuing having that conversation, and it was reassuring to me that you know that what I did was, first of all, I was shocked when I did that, because I never see myself doing that. I never see myself raising my hand in front of someone talking to me. I never do that. Never do that. Never. So when I did that, and that energy came out, it was like an out of body experience for me, right? It was like an out of body experience for me, because I literally was seeing myself doing that, and I was like, no, I shouldn't do that. No, I shouldn't do that. And then, but it kept doing that. It kept going. It kept going from that. Right? And then this started allowing me to, dive deeper in terms of what verse in the oracle will really represent what happened, right? And I have two verses I want to share with you, my brothers and sisters. And the first one is Genesis chapter 11, verse 68 to 71. And it goes like this. Remind yourself continually until it is never forgotten that your outer shell and the physical world are of little importance. Therefore, why should the challenges of the outer life cause you despair? Be at peace and in harmony with your inner internal soul and your internal love and connection to Elohim and all that is. And nothing that assails you on the outside can affect your inner serenity. It is your internal soul and spirit that are of monumental importance, and all the mortal world has been created simply to help you more clearly find your internal soul, and once found, to connect in a oneness of love to Elohim and all life. But a divine mother and father and all life are eternally a part of you, even as I am. Seek to be one with the divine in your heart, soul, mind, and spirit, and no challenge of the world will be able to overcome you. That's the first verse. Second one is same chapter, verse 98 to 101. And it goes like this. When you are challenged by mortal life, as you always shall be, let this be a time when the true divinity of your character comes forth. Do not allow times of stress and turmoil to shake you from your foundation. And what is your foundation? You are a child of God, a child of light, literally a priceless son or daughter of divinity. Even through the fog of mortal upheavals and the tumults and tribulations, always remember you are still a child of God and shall inherit joy and kingdoms beyond measure as you remain true to your light. Elohim the Father and the Mother are the source of all things that exist, and you are a part of the source, and they are a part of you. Even when the agitation and anxieties of life cloud your memory, it does not change your truth. You are a child of God, a child of light, a priceless son or daughter of divinity. You are founded upon Celestine light. You live, move, and have your soul filled with the divine light, whether you know it or not. So as I look back to what happened and as I read these verses, it kind of put everything together and it explains fully exactly why I felt what I felt and how I reacted to how I reacted. Because automatically I knew that I was a child of Mother Heavenly Father. And anything outside of that, any tribulations, any agitation, anybody yelling or screaming at me, as long as I maintain my inner peace and harmony with that, that's all. And I attest to you, my brothers and sisters, that these things are true. In the name of our eldest brother, so be it.
So be it. Wow, what a great
Yeah.
story, great experience. And
Thank you.
I love your quotes. In fact, we have coming up our stairwell, I have the quote that I had printed out from one of those places that make wall stickers. And it's seek to be one with the divine in your heart, mind, soul, and spirit, and no challenge of the world will be able to overcome you. So I see that every day. And I usually need to read that.
It was kind of interesting how, oh, I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it was kind of interesting because I was having that conversation and I was going through the oracles to get an answer to share with you, my brothers and sisters, and how this really was important. I was guided, to this. I was guided because I was like, what should I say? Because this is important. I feel that, we should, as children of light, really understand that despite what's happening, despite what's going on, in the world, we are children of our Heavenly Mother, Heavenly Father. And if you understand that and realize that, nothing, will come and break that inner peace and harmony within you, even though they will try, but nothing. And that's why when I was having that out-of-body experience, when I was having that conversation, with that person, I really was like, wow, this is really happening. And it was very, very powerful, very, very powerful.
Thank you for sharing it. It was a great example. And as you were talking about the CEO who was yelling and screaming, and it reminded me too of something that hopefully those of us in their group have not encountered too often. But in this world, we have energy vampires. And I don't know, I'm not saying your CEO is one, but a typical technique of an energy vampire, because an energy vampire is somebody who is unwilling to make efforts on their own to gain soul essence energy. Instead, they want to steal it from other people. But the only way they can do that stealing is to discombobulate the other person. And so one of the typical ways that they'll do that, if you're in a conversation with someone you expect it to be a harmonious conversation. Sometimes two people get angry at each other, they're both yelling and screaming. That's not the same situation I'm talking about. But if you're with somebody who's an energy vampire who's trying to steal your energy rather than gain their own, then out of nowhere, they may escalate something really loud, totally out of proportion to what it should be, because it's discombobulating to the person. It's just like someone come up and all of a sudden started hitting you. It was not what you were expecting. So it's discombobulating. And that's how, once you get in that discombobulated state where you're not even thinking clearly anymore because you're so shocked by what's occurring, that's when they can steal that energy from you. And so just be aware that there's this total side note that if you ever encounter that type of situation where out of the blue, someone is all of a sudden escalating the situation far beyond what it should be, just be thinking in your mind, this might be someone who's trying to steal my energy. I'm going to do like Brother Reggie did, and I'm just going to remain calm, and I'm not going to allow my energy to be stolen or disrupted. I'm just going to stay calm. And that works wonders. It's very frustrating, the energy vampire, when you do that, but it works really well.
Well, it's a perfect example of standing in your power.
Right.
You know, nothing can disrupt you if you're in your power, and you have your faith is strong, like you. I mean, it's just such a wonderful example of someone standing in their power and in control of the situation.
Well,
And what?
well, I
Go
think,
ahead, I'm sorry.
well, the fact that we all heard this story that Brother Reggie told is actually, that's in our mind now. So if we're ever in a situation where we have somebody all of a sudden starts yelling and screaming and they shouldn't be, the easiest way for me in that situation, maybe for you too, is to just think, oh, remember Brother Reggie, remember what Brother Reggie did, and just do the same thing.
And hold your hand up.
Yeah, exactly, because that works.
That actually is powerful, because when
Yeah,
you hold your
yeah.
hand up, you're
That's-
projecting your
stopping,
energy
yeah,
out
right.
to say, wait, I'm not letting all that negative energy in. You need to calm it down there.
Yeah, and I never do that, right? And it was like instinctive, and he was like yelling and screaming, and his voice was coming up, chest was puffed up, and I was like, oh, okay, like that. And then when I did that, he went back down like this.
And when you do
It'd be
that,
great to have a video of that.
when you do that, make sure you use your right hand.
I did.
Because if you use your left hand, you're doing the opposite. You're saying, oh, give me more, give me more. I want it.
Right. That was
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Right. That was so interesting because I don't raise my hands, right? So automatically my right hand came up. It was like, yeah, like that, just like that. And it kind of threw him off a little because he went back like so, and he sat back down. And when he tried to rise up again, I did it again, and he went back down. So it was very interesting when I did that. So it was like, and the other person that was sitting there, he was like, his eyes was like wide open like this. He's like, what just happened? What just happened? So, so every time he sees me now, he runs the other direction.
Right. Well, and I
I
loved your description, how, things are happening with your body, and there's another part of you going, that's me. That's me. That's me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I said, I shouldn't be doing this. But I started, it was like an out-of-body experience happening at that moment. So I said, okay, let me just go with it because this means something. It was an experience.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing it.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Can I just say something small, a little something there?
Please.
When I come across situations or a situation that you've just gone through, over the years, I've been trying to practice to calm my inner turmoil. So my outward appearance is as relaxed as anything, but really, inside me, I'm all a mess. But I have to create that impression to give the person that I'm okay. What I tell you to do now is I try to kind of say a quick prayer like Lords of Light and Love, I call upon, because it's for the first minute or two, I'm not able to say much. I'm not able to put myself together. And so I just listen as I'm being bombarded with, And I try to say a little prayer, to be able to calm me down or to help me correct the situation, and I hope to get to that point where you are talking about, where you're actually able to be articulate. But I can't be articulate because I'm being hammered, and I'm trying to develop myself to get to that point where you actually can,
Well, can I
to overcome what you come across. Yeah.
Can I give you some insight? There's something that I didn't share within this conversation. I was getting angry. I was getting hot. My dragon was firing up because I was saying to myself, how dare he talk to me like that? Right? How dare he? Right? He has no right to do that. Right? But besides me saying that, what was really powerful for me at that moment was controlling that with my breath, by breathing.
Yeah.
By breathing, because automatically when you start breathing, that fire starts going down. So when I was breathing, right, because I was getting angry, I was getting pissed off, I was getting mad, all the things that you said that you were experiencing, I was experiencing that also, right?
Okay.
But the difference is that when people experience those things, what do? They stop breathing.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
They
Because
stop
you're
breathing.
tense.
Exactly. So
you're
that
tense.
tension elevates the emotion every more. Because my Kung Fu masters instructors always tell me, remember to breathe.
Yeah.
Because when you breathe, you in the flow of the energy and you be able to see things differently. So that's what I was doing. Because I was saying to myself, how dare he? He had no nerve. He had no right. What he's doing. And not only that, he's showing up with somebody else in the office to show that he has an authority over me to say whatever he wanted to say. How dare he? So my fist was getting clinched. I was getting to step in my position, ready to go, swing. I didn't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, right. So I stopped and I breathed, and as I was breathing, I was getting that out of body experience, and my hands came up to stop that energy automatically. Right, and then the rest started to flow.
follow through. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good experience. I'll take that on board.
Absolutely.
Breathing is a real great key to just calm down and balance your energy rather than be overwhelmed by other energy or react in a way that you shouldn't react yourself. I know one of the ththings that I oftentimes do if I ever encounter people like that too, is remember something someone told me years ago that it had to do with swearing. And I always remember this quote all the time is swearing is the effort of a feeble mind to exert itself forcibly. And in this case, we can add in yelling, screaming, and swearing is the effort of a feeble mind to exert itself forcibly. And so I'll remember that. So if someone's yelling, screaming, or swearing at me, I'm thinking, okay, this is a feeble-minded person. This is the only way they're able to express themselves. Just don't react to it. All right.
And one more thing before we go. I'm sorry. It just came to me, which I forgot to mention. We have a word of power called Tarazaram that neutralizes energy, negative energy.
Yes.
It neutralizes it. So I forgot to mention that before I went to his office, that's what I said. Tarazaram in my head. Right? You can say these words of power in your head. You don't have to say out loud. The people might look at you in the office like you're a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I didn't want to do that. Right? So I said it. So I said it in my head. Yeah. So add that to your breathing. Remember, we have powers. We have powers available to us. We have word of power, Tarazaram. You say that, and that neutralizes negative energy. So when I walk in a situation and I'm very sensitive to energy, very, very sensitive to energy. If I feel something, that's the first thing I say, Tarazaram. And the energy just, right? Along with the other stuff, breathing and knowing knowing your power, knowing your faith, that all comes together. That all coalesces to you together, right? and saying the words of power for your auric energy, Zantor Vavon, all the time, to build the auric power that you have within you, that, kind of enhances everything. And then, as I mentioned from the verse that I read, the last one from chapter 11, about, we are children of light and power. We have that we have that for us to eradicate anything that comes our way. So just remember to rise around. It neutralizes negative energy.
Thank you, Brother Reggie.
Okay, good,
Sure.
will do.
All right.
Such great info.
Yeah.
All right, Sister Dacia, are you ready?
I'm here and I'm ready. Yes,
All right.
thank you. Okay. Today, as the last chapter for this year, 2022, will be chapter, I believe Brother Tom is going away from
Yeah,
the
he said
meeting.
he needed to leave, but he thanked everybody for a great meeting.
Okay.
Can watch the video.
Goodbye, Brother Tom. Have a happy Vitalta.
Yes.
Happy Luminaire.
Luminaire.
Luminaire. Yeah.
I know we're
I'm
looking
waiting.
forward to
Talked
the
to
talk.
too, but a little further down the road.
Yes. So today we are going to talk about chapter 29 as the last chapter for this year. And it's
Can I just
chapter
interject?
from Vivas.
It's interesting because chapter 29 adds up to 11, which I don't know if you know much about.
It's a master number, 11,
Right.
22, and 33. Yeah.
Right.
So we are closing up with the first master number, 11, chapter 29. And this is one of the most sad and happy chapter in the oracles. I always cry. I cried for 15 minutes before I start reading, and then I had a talk after the reading of this chapter. I had a talk. I wish I did had the talk. I spoke to Yochanan. I hope he heard me. I heard him a little bit, but I spent half an hour and more just saying, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm truly sorry for everything that mankind did to him, did to Yeshua. I'm filled with sadness and with rage, but also with love, because I know where they are. I know what they did, who they were, who they are, but still it doesn't change that we, humanity, did that to them. After reading this, and I know this by heart, I have spoken about this chapter, about who Salome is. This is the first time that Salome is mentioned, and who Yochanan was. I have read it so many times and explained it to my students, and still I cannot bear the sadness I feel in my heart for this injustice. I know it is as it should be. Everything was as it should be, but as Brother Ambrose we know, and all the apostles know, I can not unseen what I saw in my head, in my visions, or all the despicable things people did and people still do. In all these wars, in all these innocent people dying, countless, numerous, especially now that I'm translating about the first nuclear war that happened to the Kamari and the 7 cities, and the death of Yochanan, death everywhere. And I just spent half an hour telling I'm sorry, and I shall spend my whole life telling I'm sorry. I'm so sorry what humanity did to them. And Yochanan is my teacher. I'm honored to call him. I hope he likes that. that he's my teacher. I truly want to be like Yochanan, to know what he knew, to have his passion, to give sermons, to speak about Yeshua, to speak about Elohim. I have my power from him, from his talks, from his face before me. I can see him. I have always seen him since 2014. The first time I began to heal, he came. He said, "You heal, I'll give them new life." So he is my teacher, together with Yeshua, and I know him deep in my heart. I know him that we once were together. He was my teacher. I cannot see him otherwise. I always knew this. And every time I read this chapter, this is my teacher that they beheaded. And it's so sad that he spent his last days in prison, away from his wife, away from his children, but not away from the love and light of Elohim. And as Yeshua, in their way to Capernaum, when he suddenly stopped walking, he started crying. Thus I cried today, and I cried every time I read this chapter. And he cried and he bowed his head, and then all the apostles rushed to him, and Miriam said, "My love, what is it? What has happened that hurt your heart so greatly?" And then Yeshua told her in his own perfect way, kissing her lightly on her forehead, and he told her that tomorrow Yochanan, his friend of friends, his brother of brothers, will pass from this life. But though I know it must be, and that we will be together again soon and be brothers forever, I still ache to know his pain and that of Martha and his children, and the loss of all the world when he is no more upon the earth. And it still is, like upon Yeshua, it still is lost to the world, because in chapter 2 in Vivas, Yeshua, when he is together in their sojourn in the wilderness, together with Yochanan, he knew who he was, and Yochanan knew who he was. And who was Yochanan? Yeshua bowed his head in silent acknowledgement, then looked up into Yochanan's eyes and affirmed to him, "And you are the prophet Elias, come again, as was foretold by the prophets. And so grateful am I to our heavenly parents that we can share this life together." His spirit was so great that he once was prophet upon all the prophets. He was so loved by Elohim that Elohim Father and Elohim Mother asked his spirit to come again, the spirit of Elias, to come again to this earth before Yeshua, before their firstborn son, so he can guide him and together can walk the road toward ascension, toward salvation of humanity together, because they loved him so much. And this was who Yochanan is and who Yochanan was. And now he is angel of light. I wanted to ask him, what is his office? What kind of angel of light he is? I heard something, but I couldn't I couldn't understand the word in English, but I will try to speak to him, for I love him so much and I want him to be my teacher. I want him to be present every single day of my life. Why? Because he was the friend of friends and brother of brothers to Yeshua. And I mourn about for his death. But what did Yeshua did? He came to him. As Yeshua said, you are going to be ascended today. You are going to our Father and Mother, to celestial lights. And there is no other place that I wish to be except here in the cell with you. Because when Yochanan was praying on his knees in his cell near his desk, and he was praying, and then comes Yeshua, his spirit, because Yeshua said to Miriam, I shall go to the hills to be with my brother. And Miriam, as she always wants to know everything, she says, why can I come with you? And Yeshua said, you are not there yet. Where I go, you cannot go there yet. I will go to be with my brother in these hours of need, to have his spirit and guide it and bring it home to father and mother. And this Miriam understood, and she said goodbye to him, and Yeshua went up to the hills where a lion came to protect his body, so he can go in spirit, in his spirit form, to come to Yochanan. And when Yochanan saw him, oh, the joy! He couldn't believe his eyes, because he ran. You know how Yochanan was all big, and when he walked, um, when he tried to hug Yeshua, but he was a spirit, he went through him. If you can just see the vision I have in my mind. And he was so surprised, you are in your spirit body and I can see you. And Yeshua said, of course you can see me. Only the noblest among noblest can see a Holy Spirit before them. And Yochanan, humble as he was always, he said, you among all others know that I am good, but I have also my faults, as all we have. But Yochanan was always like that. He knew that he must yell and he must give all his power. And this he thought that was fault. No, it wasn't. He awoke so many people. He lighted so many hearts with celestial light. And this is my idol. This is what I want to be. Like Yochanan, to have the fire of celestial light burn in my heart and my soul so much as he was, to be so great prophet among the prophets, once again as he was. And this is why Yeshua loved him so much. And this is why he came to be with him. And this is what Brother Ambrosio meant when he said, always, always, when a child of light is in need, the Elohim shall be there personally. This is the example. Elohim did came personally to Yochanan because Yochanan needed Yeshua. They do come personally to every child of light when we need them. And what did Yeshua show him? What was going on in this very moment? The wall became a portal, and Yochanan and Yeshua stood together and watched what was happening. And there they saw the room of Herodias, the wicked, wicked women, that wanted his head on a platter. Why? Because he told the truth. He told that no woman can ever marry by the law to a living brother. That was the law. You cannot divorce a living brother and marry another brother just because he had more money, and he spoke against them. And this bothered Herodias. Her so name, her cheek was veiled. No, it wasn't. It was truth. And she was whatever Yochanan thought she is. And she knew that, and this is why she wanted to punish him. But Herod was amazed by his knowledge, and he didn't want to kill Yochanan. He captured him just for his wife's sake, because he's just an ordinary man who wanted to lay with his wife. But so he fulfilled her wishes just to have peace in the house, so to say. But he didn't want to kill him, because he was afraid that the people might rise. But people would, as Yeshua told Yochanan, the people wouldn't rise, not for his death. They will have the destiny they deserve, but not because of Yochanan's death. But Herodias was a wicked, wicked woman. She did a most horrific deed. They saw in her room how she ordered her daughter to give herself, like a common, sorry for the language, like a common whore, that Salome said, "Oh mother, why, oh why? What have I ever done to you to make you hate me so?" Salome was so innocent child. She was very beautiful, and Herodias knew this, and she knew that Herod wanted her, and she used Salome, her own daughter, to give herself. Even if she needed, she would give her daughter to her husband just to get what she wanted. And she wanted the head of Yochanan the baptizer. This was how evil she was. And such people we still have. She used her own daughter to dance seductively on the birthday of Herod. So she can ask, Salome could ask from the drunk Herod to fulfill a wish for her, making her to sell her soul, because for all what she did, she said, she hit her, she slapped her, she pushed her. She told her so brutal things that no child should ever hear from a parent. But this was not parent. Parents don't talk like this. These were the words that her mother told her. These are the words of Herodias. "You will do as I command, you insolent wretch. Everything you have is because of me, and you cannot even begin to imagine how horrible your life will be if you do not exactly fulfill my desires." Salome lay in a heap crying, while Herodias continued to speak vilely to her, saying, "If you so love the baptizer," Salome loved the baptizer. Salome is smart. She is a very smart, beautiful girl, a child of light. She loved Yochanan. She would never harm a fly, whom you have never even met more than me, your own mother. for she is not her mother. Then consider your punishment if you refuse to do as I command. I will disown you. You will be dressed in rags and locked in the dungeon for 6 months with only bread and water for food and whatever bugs and rats you can catch. When you come out, you will serve as a whore for Herod's soldier for another 6 months. After that, I shall find the most loathsome man to give you to, but I'm sure he will not want to marry such refuse, so you shall be a slave till your last breath. Herodias didn't care for anyone but her. She did this to her own child. Can you imagine with what light, how without any difficulty she could take another man's life and her daughter's life? She didn't care. And I ask this question over and over again in my head as Yochanan asked Yeshua, but now as Yeshua answered Yochanan, I answer to my clients when they ask me this, exactly the same thing. How can someone so closely discard the lives of others, both her daughters and mine? Is she possessed of a devil? Because this is not normal. Every single good person, every single child of light would surely think, as Miriam thought in the Gishon River, that this man that tried to rape her, that this mother that rapes emotionally her child must be possessed of demons, because no normal human can ever have this sort of thoughts and words in their mouths. But as I answered to my clients, and as Yeshua answered Yochanan, it is the way of many people in power that they are possessed by a devil of their own creation inside of them, inciting unrighteous dominion over others. But it is only their own darkness which they have embraced instead of their own light. No, dear, it's not the devil, it's not demons. People are wicked, people are evil. They just let themselves to their darkness and they enjoy it. This we call metastase demons. Herodias was a living example of metastase demon. She became demonic because she chose it and she liked it. And people here, humans, being coming from the presence of Elohim, they give to their darkness. It's not demons' fault, it's their own. They are simply wicked. And Salome said, may God forgive me, for I will never forgive myself. I will do as you demand. Too meek am I to withstand the torture you present today, even though I know my actions will inherit many more torments in the world to come. And on the birthday of Herod Antipas, the wicked plan of this metastase demon, Herodias, took place and it was fulfilled. And Salome, with her soul torn apart, I can feel the pain she's had that day when she did this thing. With her soul torn apart, with the life gone away from her body, she asked for the head of Yochanan the baptizer on a platter. And Herod, being Herod, he forget all about the common people going to be commoners, going to make a revolution, but he wanted to please the noblemen because his vanity was more high, and he wanted Salome, and he could not go against his word. And this is what Herodias wanted all along. He knew that this was plan of Herodias, but because he knew how much she hated Yochanan, but he couldn't said no, not now. He would be thought as a weak man from his noblemen, because as many people today do, the opinion of the other is more important than the opinion of Elohim. More and more people forgot about Elohim. The vanity took over, the greed took over, evil took over. And thus Herod said to two of his soldiers to go now to the prison where Yochanan was, to beheaded him. But Yochanan wasn't alone. Yeshua was there with him, and they looked through the wall, everything that has happened. And then Yochanan was prepared as the soldiers approached, and he was a bit jovial because he said, perhaps this would be a good time now for a heavenly vanishing. And Yeshua fulfilled his wish. And he said in seriousness, my spirit will always be with you, my brother, even as yours will be with your family and friends. Come with me now, for you need not suffer the pangs of death. And Yochanan knew what he meant, and Yeshua just grabbed the forearm of Yochanan, and Yochanan grabbed the forearm of Yeshua, and the spirit of Yochanan left unharmed. Of course, it's a spirit, it cannot be harmed, but it left unharmed, and they both, with all the joy in the world, when you live this wretched world, they went to the Celestine realms, into the light, to become an angel of light. But before all this happened, Yochanan asked a wish from Yeshua, that now Martha is all alone and his children, and he was concerned what will happen to them. And Yeshua said, do not worry, you will be with them more than you was here alive with them, because you were always doing your ministry and you were never home. But now as your spirit, you will be more with them than you were alive, so you will see them. Your spirit will be always with them. And what is mortality? Just a blink of an eye. You will be together very, very soon. And Yeshua will come in 2 or 3 years after the departure of Yochanan, and they will be brothers forever. And he said, Yochanan said to Yeshua that he wished, even though they weren't brothers by blood, he wished that he marry Martha, so Martha can have the family of Celestine light and the presence of her sister, because Yeshua would soon be gone too, and they can have each other in all the times that they are left on earth until their time has come. And thus, with all these promises for seeing you soon, my dear brother, they just walk through the passage of death without tasting death, right to the ascension, because Yochanan was the perfect child of light, twice the prophet, and he just became the angel of celestial light. He is now home and I miss him very much. This I say in the name of Yeshua of Nazareth, our eldest brother, who I know protect all of us, love all of us, and takes a good care of Yochanan and all the apostles. I miss you, Yochanan. So be it.
So be it.
Thank you, sister. Touches
Yeah.
touched
So
our
be it.
hearts as usual.
Yeah, that's a very touching chapter.
Yochanan, seeing as you asked, wonderful talk, sister, and great passion. We love your passion. Yochanan is the angel of higher self. So whenever you're trying to reach your greater potential, to have greater insight, to live up to who you can be, that would be the angel to call upon.
That's who we should call on for your angel. Rather than,
Oh,
because
Yeah,
we all
Thank
can
you.
connect
Thank you,
with
brother.
ourselves better,
Yeah.
but yeah, since we have this new information.
well, there's another angel for the higher self too, so he has a different aspect.
He's the higher Celestine self. It's calling
Okay.
upon your higher Celestine self. Angel of the higher Celestine self.
Okay.
What was that again, brother? What was his name?
Yochanan is the angel of the higher Celestine self.
Yeah, we'll make him. our
Well, you can
angel
call on
today.
both of those angels, one that you had.
No, I'll
Oh.
just call on one. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, dear Ambrosman. This means a lot to me and a lot to all, but especially to me, since I don't know, I think I have a special connection with Yochanan. Like I know him a long, long time ago, as you know, Philos. This is my feeling.
Well, I think that might be what drew you originally to Alex. He kind of looks like Yochanan.
I will tell him this. He will be joyful.
Yochanan without hair.
Just he misses the long hair with all the
Right.
ribbons.
Right.
Right.
Well, you can just maybe he'll go, tell him that he's kind of like Yochanan, and maybe he'll gravitate towards that.
Hair will start growing.
All right, well, this has been a great meeting for our last meeting of 2022. And I appreciate all of you taking your time to share it with us. And I wish you all a wonderful, happy luminaire.
We're not done yet.
Well, I can still wish them a happy
Oh,
luminaire.
Okay.
Don't go yet.
And we will have our final angel of the year and final word of power for the year. So Sky.
Cool. Yes, well, switching gears here, we're gonna call on Yochanan, the angel of the higher Celestine self.
Yes.
So Yochanan, Yochanan, Yochanan.
Yochanan. Yochanan.
Please come to us.
As we meet, so let it be.
Yochanan,
Yochanan. Please come to us. As we meet, so let it be. Yochanan. Please come to us. As we meet, so let it be.
Yochanan, how wonderful. Just to learn more about you, and thank you for that awesome stewardship that you hold, and we can all use some of your energy of the higher Celestine self. So whatever way that each individual would like to have help from you, they can ask you themselves, and otherwise we just ask you to help us all with our connecting with that higher aspect of ourselves and being more in tune and more one with our higher Celestine self. Thank you, and we love you.
So be it.
That'll be it. Well, I'm sure you have, like Miriam has an angel name, but I guess because we know him as Yochanan, we have special
Right.
channel there that we can call upon him in his stewardship by his earthly name.
Yeah.
But do you know what his?
Angel of the higher self.
I know.
No, it's
his-
not like Miriam, angel of the covenant. He doesn't have a name like that.
No, she has her angel name is Sasawin or.
Just stay with Yochanan.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, word of
The
power.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's it. Okay, the word of power. I'm not sure if I gave this one to you before. It's not in the book. So it's to instill and expand the spirit of hope. And I
I
think
don't
that,
think you've given it. That doesn't sound familiar.
okay, well, to me, it encapsulates this chapter, that it gives, even though it was a hard chapter and sad chapter, it still instilled the spirit of hope, that as we live our lives in the light, we are promised an eternity of wonderful rewards.
In the life too, we can have, even in the
Exactly.
even in the tumult of life, there are, like the
Here,
song
right.
from Brother
Exactly.
Estevas, there's joys in every single day
Yeah.
and blessings in every single day,
Exactly.
even amidst turmoil and challenges.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the word of power is Elohim, Jas-Alel. So you know how to spell Elohim. And then Jas-Alel is J-A, S is in Sam, another S-A-L-E-L. Jas-Alel, Elohim Jas-Alel. So let's start softly and call in that energy to instill and expand the spirit of hope.
Elohim Jas-Alel.
Elohim Jas-Alel. Elohim Jas-Alel.
Felt that. All right, so I will say goodbye again.
Well,
But anybody else have comments or questions before we say goodbye for
Yeah, we-
2022?
Question,
Comments?
comment? We don't want to leave yet. Please.
So I just want to say something to Sister Jeanette. Thank you for the accolades in the chat, and also whatever challenge that you're going through, it's an experience.
It
Remember
is
that.
an experience.
Yeah, remember that.
It's an experience.
Just remember that.
Yeah.
All right, and you are a child
Thank
of
you
light.
very much.
Welcome.
We didn't have our chat turned on. We missed some things.
Yeah, we didn't see the chat,
Sorry.
so apologize for that.
I got you covered. I got you.
Good.
Thank you, Sister Jeanette.
I love you all so much. Thank you for everything.
No,
We
Thank
appreciate
you for being you.
you have a marvelous
Likewise.
energy of peace and love, Sister Ellie. Sister
Leah.
Layla. Change your name on Zoom so we can
I
remember.
know, I need to
Layla.
do that. I need to do that.
And you have a beautiful soul name and a beautiful soul and a beautiful spirit, and we appreciate your presence very much.
indeed, all of you. We appreciate
And
all of you.
How is your mother?
Oh, she's in between the worlds, I do believe.
Yeah.
Well,
Some
you
days
know,
her eyes are so bright blue. And I know that she's on the other side as she comes back. So I know she's going in between.
you know the angel of soul passage. And so
Yes.
as he did with my daughter, they spend some time with them, taking in them their spirit, their soul to the other realm. And
It can really help them not be so confused and discombobulated when they do leave.
So they leave in
Yeah.
peace,
Okay.
knowing where they're going.
Yeah. It really helps.
Okay. I will do that.
all right.
So
Well,
does everybody have
you.
great plans for the last couple weeks this year and the holidays?
Hopefully.
Sister Dancha, we're going to be having a book launching party.
Right, that's pretty
right.
cool.
That's so
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I'll post some photos and short videos on MeWe so
That'd be
we
great.
can see how it all went.
That would be great.
And yes, I'm all excited about this. And I just enrolled in another education. So I go in two schools, Gestalt psychotherapy and Gestalt art psychotherapy.
Hmm.
So much essays to write, book. So it's, yeah, I'm
That's good.
translating. Yeah, transliterating the oracles, making videos. So it's all about writing of the light
Standing.
and
on the
sharing the light.
Do you ever sleep?
light. Yeah.
Well, I try not to because it's a waste of time for me. So
Doesn't-
yeah,
I can say that she doesn't sleep. Not at all. When I at midnight or 6 o'clock in the morning, she is always available. Yes, Simonche, yes, we can do that right now. So she doesn't sleep. Not at all.
Well, remember that your night self is important also. So don't forget that you need to give your night self time to go out and do things. That
Well,
is important.
yes, I
The
know.
other thing is that, because I'm the same way as Sister Dancia, I typically don't go to bed till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Not that I wouldn't prefer to go to bed at a much earlier time, but there's always so much to do, and that's the quiet time where I don't have any other distractions. So I don't end up getting as much sleep as I really should. And it's important for the body. That's the time that the body heals and regenerates cells without having to be working on other daytime activities. So it's at a rest time, and it's a really a recuperation and regeneration time for all parts of your body, but it only happens if you're actually asleep.
Right.
Yeah,
As
I
you
know.
get older and older, you'll
Yeah,
notice how much more
I
important
know.
that is.
Right.
I compensate with doing Reiki to myself, and I shower myself with light 2 or 3 times a day. So I recuperate, I invigorate myself with Reiki energy, and Reiki is love and light. So I spend half an hour, 45 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day, so I can recharge.
Good.
Wow, good for you.
Remember, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours
8
of
hours.
work,
Work,
8
8
hours of
hours
play,
play.
24
Yeah.
hours
The
a
play
day.
one is the trick that most of us don't do at all. It's worse than sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
So we
Right?
sleep.
That's the balance.
Don't
And in
get
the
enough sleep,
oracles,
you
it talks
really
about
don't get enough play.
But if your work
Right.
is your play, then you're doing
right. Then
same.
you meshing it together. But remember, that's balance. In the oracles, they
that.
talk about that and balance all the time in the oracles. Balance, balance, balance.
Balance is one of the great foundations of Celestine life to remember. and
Thank you, Brother Reggie. This is why I taught Alex to help me with Reiki, so we can all be together.
Perfect. That would help.
Okay.
I have something to share with you all. My spiritual guide years ago gave me a gift, and I'll share this gift with you because I was playing around with it. I went for an early morning walk this morning to town, and that's when I communicate and I do things and have fun with in my mind. And I remembered his gift, and he gave me a white pill, and it's kept in another realm. So I just reach my hand out and let this little white pill of light come into my hand, and I pop it in my mouth. I swallow it down, and it comes down into my core. And then it just literally explodes white light, pure blinding light through my whole body.
Love it.
I open my eyes and I see it beam out through my eyes, and it goes out through my hands and my fingers. I mean, it just emanates out of me everywhere. And it's a most awesome experience. So if you want to envelop yourself in pure white healing light, take the little light pill.
Yeah, well, that
That's a really great,
love it.
great
Visual.
visualization.
Yeah, well, that encapsulates,
was-
reminds me of the middle movement in the contemplative movements, the bridge of light, where you're just every pore of light or every pore of your body is just emanating light. And it's always interesting going into public after you've experienced this or visualize this. You can do it with the pill, which is a shortcut. It's always good to have shortcut.
Right.
And people react to you differently. It's
Yeah,
like that,
because they
it's like
see it and feel it. in
you
something
feel
else.
so sparkly, or it's just pay attention to the comments that you get when you go
Right.
into public after
Right.
taking your light pill.
Right,
Well-
like do it before you go into a shopping mall, for instance, and you might
People
have
will
some
just be
very
like-
interesting
Well,
looks.
you more than just interesting looks. If you're in that space that your aura is emanating light from every pore, as an example, and you just walk into like a supermarket or whatever and watch people, you'll see people will stop and look at you. Yes, those are normal people, but people who have a lot of darkness, they will actually see you turn around and walk away to another aisle somewhere rather than how you get closer to them.
Right,
Or frown at you.
Right.
or go up.
Great. They can run, let 'em run.
You know you're
But
affected when they do that.
Right.
right, absolutely. And you know it works because even dogs, when they're working with their owners, they look up at you. They look.
They see,
And,
And
and,
children.
and they-
and children,
yes.
children can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the children start laughing at you, start pointing the fingers, start giggling and laughing, and the parents are like,
Right. Right.
That's so true.
stuff like that. So
Light
yeah,
pill, with the light pill, you can just take as many as you want. You can take them all day long. You can,
Oh, there we go.
they're so powerful. You don't need many because they are
yeah,
powerful, but they're wonderful for healing. If you're
Mm.
working on healing your body, or if you need your energy to come up, just pop a light pill, into your mouth and let it just to pretend like, you're just swallowing it. And because to pretend it becomes real. And,
Yeah.
and then just, I always make the sound, I go, like,
Sound
Like a chicken.
I love the sound effects. But of course, if you're around somebody, you'd have to do that silently, but I usually try to do it where nobody's around. But
Except they have videotapes and
right, knows what I've been shown on cameras. But it's fun stuff to play with, very powerful.
Okay, brothers and sisters, happy Luminaire.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Happy Luminaire.
Happy Luminaire.
If you have
Happy
children at
Luminaire.
home and you celebrate Luminaire, you can celebrate Luminaire and Christmas, but Luminaire is great because it's always a couple days before Christmas. Kids get to open all their presents before all their friends do, so they like that. And then you can also have Christmas presents too, so it's up to you, but Luminaire is a very fun holiday. Remember to
I don't
put out
think anybody
some-
has small children.
some lights out to help celebrate Luminaire. And I love you guys.
Celebration of light.
I testify to you that this is the truth. This is the light. And as we embrace it, our lives are better in so many ways. I look back even on the last quarter of a century here and the blessings that we've had as we've become more in tune with Celestine light are astounding, beyond our imaginations. And you are already. I mean, just to be able to be a part of your lives is such a blessing, and I appreciate it so much. Love you and wish you a happy Luminaire.
Namaste.
We love you.
Yeah,
Namaste.
Interesting, too.
Thank
Love
you.
and light,
Thank you.
my dear family.
Bye.